Today, I'm going to talk about the four boys that have been found. Two are not yet found. That is the topic for today. I was planning to talk something else, and when I was practicing for the talk, the news flash came that the four have been found, and two are yet to be found. As I've been saying, that is, they are just in the same condition that I was saying, and I am sure that the other two will be found. Most likely, on the day uh, the Inspector General is supposed to appear in court, and most likely I want to give an expert opinion by saying that on the day that Kanja will appear before court, he will appear in the court, let's say, is it earliest at 9? But they'll have been released somewhere at night. I want to make that observation. But before I make that observation or comments, I want to make two observations. First of all, I want to talk to the Ugandan youth who have been correcting me on matters to do with Uganda. I also am happy that they are telling me that for a Kenyan to know, to be of that level, it amazes them. Yes, there are some things that I've said that they were done by Saleh Salim, but I've been corrected that no, it was Kizza Besigye who did those things. Uh, Ugandans will agree with me that even for somebody of my age who stayed in Uganda all his life, may not have, very many of them may not be, may not know things to the level that I know. So thanks for that. I stand corrected. I want also to talk about Kenyan youths of the same age. You see, Ugandans, when NRA was in Luero Triangle, in Kenya we had things like, we had a lot of problems that time also. And that time, when you disagreed with anybody politically, people would call you names. We used to have, that is 85, 86. You disagreed, somebody sees that you are not reasoning the way he or she is reasoning, and would just call you, the terminology then used to be, millions have been poured. Some would say millions have been poured. Others would say millions have been poured by foreign masters, and so on and so forth. I am seeing that coming. I am seeing that coming. I am seeing the current generation doing the same. Oh, Mzee, you used to be anti-government. Oh, Mzee, the government has paid you. Oh, Mzee, you are afraid of the government, and so on and so forth. Calling me pro-government or anti-government does not make me a pro-government, or neither does it make me an anti-government. If you have a fixed idea that you expected me to say this and that, and I don't say what you are saying, it is very easy. Kindly don't even don't even attack me. Don't even do whatever. Just don't watch. Just don't watch. Because if you want somebody to say exactly the way you want, it is very easy. Open a YouTube, look for two people, one being a cameraman and the other one to present what you want. Mzee, you have disappointed us. Nowadays, you don't talk the way we want to hear. I don't talk the way you want to hear. People may be shocked. People may be shocked if they knew my history. But those people who are there during those days, during Nyayo House. As we speak now, I am the only person who has authoritatively talked about Nyayo House. I went to Nyayo House 4 months ago. Is it 4 or 5 months ago? I wanted to record the cells, but I was taken up and down. I was taken up and down. Intelligence officers are no longer with Nyayo House. I was being told, go to 20, is it 24th floor? From 24th floor, they said no, security is with the AP. I had to go lift up and down and whatever. I convinced myself something and I do. And I did not start when the YouTube started. I did not start when Kibaki started. We still have people who used to work in special branch during my time, and they'll tell you that JI-TENGE, whom we used to talk to, or we used to work with, is somebody who only feared telling the lies. I will, because today I want to talk about the 6 kids, especially bearing in mind their current position. I'll only give one example where I did something that even shocked my colleagues, and it even led to my sacking. If you happen to know anybody who, some of them, most of them are dead. Most of them are dead, but some are still alive, and even that one contributed to my being sacked. There's a day we were in the inspector's room, Rift Valley Provincial Headquarters, and we talked about Molo clashes. When we talked about Molo clashes, I was the youngest in age, I was the youngest in rank, and I was the youngest in experience. But we talked about that at length. Then I told my colleagues, why don't we inform our bosses? They told me, if we inform our bosses, we will lose our job. Not only lose our job, because the late Chanzu Virili, Chief Inspector Chanzu Virili, used to say, I don't care. The worst you can do is sack me, nothing more. That is what he used. That is the exact words he used to use. So they used to tell me, after all, if you are sacked now, whatever. So we let us just know whatever. There is a lot of time I used to make a lot of reports, and people would come and give me hints. They would tell me a lot about ABCD, but they would, on condition that I do not quote them and I would not do whatever. Back to the story of Molo clashes. I went, saw Mr. Rafael Kaino Kimayo, Rafael Kimayo Kaino. I went and talked to him. I'm sure he's still alive, but if you find him today, I'm sure he's senile because he was really aged. But I went to him, talked to him, ABCD verbally. He took a phone, talked to intelligence headquarters in Nairobi, Nyati House then, told them what I've told him, while I was seated there. And after talking to them, they told him that they wanted that report. And he told me there, and then he told me, can you organize yourself? There's no time limit. Just organize yourself, but have all the ideas. I went to the inspector's office, sat down. Inspector Okello is still alive, if I'm sure, and he was slightly older than me. If at all, maybe he was 5 years older than me. Those people, we sat down and wrote. Kinyanjui Ngodho, Gilbert, is it Gilbert or Gabriel? GK Ngodho is still alive, a church elder. He was there. We sat down, we talked, we drafted, and when it came, that is called an amalgamated report. We sat down, I told them, let us make it an amalgamated report. They said, no, wewe na kimbelembele yako ya kupate wewe peke yako. So I was forced, although I played or contributed very little, but when it went to the typing pool, it was seen as if it was my personal contribution. Nobody had assisted me. It went to Nyati House. I was recommended for promotion to chief inspector. And others now felt bad, and that is how they undermined me, and I had to be sacked. They felt that a young boy could not just come and overtake us. If you go to the Nation Media House and they produce the records, they had interviewed me, and I said one of the reasons that led for me to be recommended for promotion is I say something so long as I am convinced. The interview was done by a lady who was called Omwa Ombara. Omwa Ombara. She's, I think, now in exile. So that is how it is. That is how I am. If I see Ruto doing something bad, I castigate him. If he does anything, after all, when people start saying, "Oh, you're praising this unpopular government ABCD," unpopular. How can it be unpopular and it was elected? 2027 will come. The people will present themselves. If I stood against Ruto and got more votes than Ruto, I'll be made the president. You cannot call it unpopular and it got a lot of votes. Let us be sincere. Let us not be whatever. And then saying that you have been paid just because I'm not saying what you wanted to. There is this fellow, I think he's a Luo. He's either in USA or Canada, who paid for my eye operation. And he was here saying that no, from today onwards, because I paid for you, I financed your eye operation. You from now on, every week you have to place one video which is pro Luo. I said, go to hell. So that is how I am, and I'll stand by that. If you want somebody to be recording what you want to listen, just buy a good camera, a good microphone, and a good presenter. Draft something for them to say. But if you want to listen to me, I you can convince me to change my mind, because when I started this YouTube, it was something about translating Lingala. But then nowadays, I mean, people just directed me towards that. And of course, with the till number and YouTube sending me good money, I asked myself, why should I spend 3 hours translating the Bible into Lingala? Although I may restart it just because of my spiritual whatever. But you see, I record something in Lingala, and then people watch 100 views. And I just talk off head the way I'm talking. People watch 3,000 times. So saa zingine, even we have also to mind about food, isn't it? Uh, I have to concentrate on what people want to listen. But telling me that I'll have to talk for the sake of course, I like people watching my YouTubes as many as possible. But doing that, cheating or even playing with your ego so that my view hours are increased, you're in the wrong person. Now let us go to the 4 kids. Everything that I've said has come to be whatever. It is purely coincidental. And the other things I've been saying, that the government later comes and does what. Of course, I understand if I do that, then people start saying that I have connection to the government. Well, hakuna ubaya hapo, but whatever I talk is what I believe in, and whatever recommendation I make, I believe it is the recommendation that is good for the government. Now, I want to compare the abduction that used to happen during my time or our time and the abduction that is happening today. I strongly believe, and I still, nothing has convinced me otherwise as of now. I strongly believe that the abduction is done by the NIS. That is why um, the inspector generals, we start with the acting inspector general Masengeli. The inspector general Masengeli is is not used to this, and that is how he played around and embarrassed himself. When it comes to Kanja, Kanja is I believe Kanja has worked in all security departments except AP and NIS. I believe he rose in the GSU. I believe he has even worked in DCI. I believe he has done so that is why you can see Kanja knows how to answer questions. And if you ask me, if you put their Boynet and Kanja, they are, to me, I would say they are good inspectors general. And I would say Mutiambai is the worst. Um, as for Masengeli, he was acting, and also we are trying to convert APs from chiefs militia to police officers so we can understand what Masengeli went through. So I still believe that it is NIS. But if you compare what was happening during my time and this time, the first thing you'll have to discover is that during my time, we had a central place. We had one place where people who are being abducted used to be placed, and that is Nyayo House. But from where I am, I can see that they have several, what do you call, houses around the country. Can I call them safe houses? Yeah, they have placed them in several places around the country. There is this one who was found, was it in, found himself in Soi, in Kitale. So you can find that they nowadays they don't have a centralized place. That one I would explain that this government is not, or this government is not, or even this constitution is anti-abduction. You see, the Moyuan had the abduction part of it, whereby a house was specifically, Nyayo House, was specifically built comparable to Ceausescu's houses in Romania. That is the first whatever I'm seeing. The second change I'm seeing is I doubt whether they are being physically beaten. If you listen to the three, what do you call, Kitengela people, we are not seeing, I don't think they are being beaten. Physically, no. But I think the current system is they are being placed in, it is psychological. I know somebody will rush to say, but don't you think psychological is worse than physical? Come on. My duty is not to say which is better or the other. My duty is to say what is happening. I am not there to justify there's something being done or not being done. No, mine is just to say nowadays there is no physical beating. Those days, I've even recorded about Njeri, and others. And Njeri was worse because she was a woman. You know, there is some beating, especially below the belt, where being beaten or being mishandled by somebody who is not a man, it becomes even more stressful. That is why Njeri was more known. But men used to do whatever. And just to tell you, to put you in the picture, is that when Professor Nyang' Nyong', the current governor in Kisumu, was released, it is there in the open. And even if you ask Professor Nyang' Nyong' will tell you. He says that the way he was beaten in his private parts, he believed that he had been sort of castrated. So when he was released, he usually says, and his daughter is there, uh, he says that when the daughter is just there, he says that when he came out, it is the birth of his daughter that made him believe that he still can father people. So you can see how things used to happen. We have people, during those days, someone would even be thrown above Nyayo House. If you look at all, I've not been there. I'm only giving an expert opinion. I'm only giving an expert opinion. I would say, I would believe that whatever is happening now is that the physical aspect is out, because there are some people who even who used to come out. You remember there was is it Gasheru, the journalist who was thrown, and he lived his life on a wheelchair. So today's, unless otherwise proven, the physical uh, the physical scars maybe would be when you are being abducted, uh, and you resist and something like that. I think that is the only place where there is the physical aspect. But where they were taken, I don't see any physical whatever. During my time, we were told, we were told that one of the tortures is the selection of food. Selection of food. If you look at the selection of food, a human being is naturally made to have, three basic foods. Three basic foods. One which is three basic foods. One which is protein, starch, and whatever. You know them. I didn't do biology. I was in a technical school, technical high school, Nairobi. So, but those who know about balanced diet, you know. So there is a system where food which are selected in a certain way, they make you first of all, even not having the balanced food, balanced meal, they are given very little food. You remember, was it Jagi? Jagi was saying that he was given water to drink, and he was given a small lump of ugali and cabbage. So that is, he has vitamins and he has starch. So he's lacking, uh, what do you call, meat ama hii inaitwa nini? Me I did bwana, ukikuja mambo ya welding mimi ndio nilisomea, but there is meat and beans inaleta nini. For all that time he missed it. Now if you look at the way uh, he was being treated, the food was very little. Why was it very little? The intention was, if they deny him food, he'll die out of hunger. So it was just enough food. And you see, the food was so little that he used to go for a long call once a week. Once a week. And a normal human being, where where you are not diarrheaing or you are not having that, I believe you visit the toilet once a day. Now the food is so little that you go for a long call once a week. They're also saying that there is this jerrycan 5 liter which has been cut and which as they were using as a place for long call or short call. But it was mostly for short call, because they were taking a lot of water. I mean, but food, they would go for a long call once a week. That indicates that wherever they were placed is a place which was not, it's not like Nyayo House, purposely made for, which was purposely made for torture. This is just somebody's an abandoned house and whatever. It was placed that way. So the food is given for two things. One, it's you are given food very little, because if you are denied food, a human person would. And Njagi says that he lost how many kilos? And then being placed in either blindfolded or placed in dark rooms, it disorients you. It disorients you. I'm trying to put you into the picture of how these people went through. They went that way and whatever. And then when they are being released, there is something I want you to notice. They are released, all of them, and they go to the nearest police station. What is that meaning? You see, the habeas corpus was given to the Inspector General. And do you know what the Inspector General said? I have checked all the police sales registry, and I found that no police cell in Kenya has them. And these kidnapped kids are even confirming. They are confirming it by when they are released, the first place they go is to a police station to report that they have been found. If they had been placed in a police cell or anything, do you want to expect now they go to another police station to report that we have been found? So that is what I wanted to say, that they are disoriented. I can tell you that these are kids who are very active on social media, whereby even when they are broke, they rush to get bundles and whatever. Anything happening in the world, if they spend 30 minutes without going to see what is happening in the world, and they spend 30 days without knowing, remember, spending 30 minutes, now they've spent 30 days, they get disoriented. You can see that. The intention is to give them the fear of God. They get the fear of God because if the current abduction would not have happened, well, of course, I want to say something, but let me jump with something here. Of course, the Kitengela 3 never intended to say what happened to them until these ones were abducted. If these ones were not abducted, Kitengela 3 would not have done whatever. So there is the fear of God in them. And they are just told, we know you and we know how to get you and whatever. So you get out of here, you start hiyo ujinga yako, we will come for you. So you find that these kids, even if you watch them in the next coming days and whatever, they'll they will not talk of what happened to them or whatever, because they have been given that fear. It has entered their head. Ongea tu kidogo. Christmas ulikuwa wapi? Imagine kama ungekuwa hapa Christmas, ungekuwa wapi? Aya, New Year ungekuwa wapi? So unataka hiyo irudiwe tena? So these people sit down and think, and I've just said that Kitengela 3, actually it is only Njagi who has said, the two brothers have not talked. So if this, they just say we will talk to you later, but they don't talk. It is that fear of God that has been placed in them. That happens that way. Mine is only to explain to you what is happening. As far by the way, that is how intelligence are supposed to work. I'm not supposed to justify or whatever. I'm just supposed to give you the whole picture. Then if you have to if you have to conclude one way or the other, then that is up to you. I have also to say that I've recorded and said and insisted that the best way is to ignore the best way is to ignore these young kids. Just ignore them. They called the president Zakayo. He accepted. They moved on. When they called him Kasongo, he accepted. They moved on. But when they started these pictures of coffins and funerals and whatever, he hit the roof. I think I would advise the president or even the government that the best medicine was to ignore them. I grew up with a nickname that I hated. I'll tell you. And anybody calling me that nickname would rush, because I reach him or her, it will be a fight. The nickname, I was all my life until I can even see some rings in my neck. It is you people, the YouTube, that have made me put on weight. Since I was born, I've been a very thin person since I was born. And when I was growing up, you called me Mosquito. Hey, Mosquito. You should run. But Mangelepa came up and started singing, Leo tumechinja mosquito. Everybody started calling me. Na nikarash ati I wanted to claim my name. Hakuna, everybody has started calling himself Mosquito. So if you are given a nickname, persevere, pretend it is normal. Let them call you what do you call? Zakayo. And I like the president way he reasoned the other day. I would have wished if that reasoning would have come earlier, much earlier, when he said that you called me Zakayo, and yes, naokota ushuru, najenga inchi. And then again in that town, Yesu alienda kutembelea nani? Si alienda kutembelea Zakayo. Kwa hivyo mimi Mungu you see, that is the way to take it. And even but if I were the president and they reach, because you see, mine is to advise, and the people do what? We run on blood, not fuel. Something may happen that may not please you. So what do? The president should just talk to, these kids don't know. They think that by drawing a picture of the president in their coffee and they are arrested, the president will have to weigh, do I go to court or do I leave? Because if the complainant doesn't come, CPC, Criminal Procedure Code, says that if the complainant doesn't appear in court, the case is thrown away under what they say, lack of interest by the complainant. But the law that says that misuse of nini, you don't have to complain. You just go to the CAK, Communication Authority of Kenya, tell them that this is just look at this. Then the Communication Authority of Kenya is the complainant because you are misusing a communication gadget. So if the president can, because he's a human being, the way vijana wananitukana ati sijui nimelipwa, I also get annoyed. So if you get annoyed and I advise you to ignore it, you really can't ignore. Just tell the CAK. There's no time that we have had committee imejaa. No. Committee haijawahi jaa. So and again committee wakipelekwa, not like this time they are coming out. Well, of course it's good that the good, what do you call, certificate of good conduct will not affect. But just place 2 or 3 there. Let them be jailed for 6 months and let them have a certificate. There is one, Tibet Bull. He was doing that. He was, right now he should have been in a university somewhere abroad. So I would advise the government and the president and by extension the government, if we can't ignore them, then the best way is to have them taken to court. Have them taken to court and be jailed. That one not only will stop others from doing it, you'll have done the correct way, and you'll have permanently spoiled their history because of the certificate of good conduct. Lastly, I want to talk about my Mufiala, Regiji. I'm shocked. I think I've said it on this recording, but I'll repeat. I'm shocked that some young people, those who were saying the other day, are saying, "Oh, Rigiji was the son of Moi." Rigiji was born when Jaramogi was the vice president. No. You see, Mama ya Rigiji was an employee at State Lodge. At sijui Moi went there when Jomo Kenyatta was the president. And let us be serious. Has Kenyatta ever used Sagana State Lodge? No. Kenyatta used to use only 3 places. He used to use Nakuru, Nairobi. At Nairobi, he never used it. Every day he would go to Gatundu and Mombasa State Lodge. Oh, Rigiji is an illegitimate son of Moi. Oh, Rigiji was there. He is the one of the people who punished Kikuyus during the Molo clashes. He was very much anti-Kikuyu. But today, and I was telling the truth, and I'll repeat it here. I was saying, no, 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 no. Rigiji was, he killed a lot of Kikuyus in Molo. Rigiji used to pour, if he finds you with Busa or Changai, Rigiji even poured some hot dini on a Changa brewer who was lame, such things. Well, what I could tell you is that during the Molo clashes, Moi had said that if you are in a place where your people are fighting, let's say two tribes are fighting or several tribes are fighting, security committee would not have any person from the warring tribes. And then in Nakuru, all Kikuyus in position. We had the senior superintendent Mugweru, who was on the desk. He was on the desk. Desk means that in the military and police, they call them staffing officer. These are not in command position. But you find all of them, all Kikuyus were transferred. There was the there was the DO2 in the DC's office. The DC was called Ishmael Chelanga Amarakwet. The DO who used to offer people permits for public was Matilda, is it Waswa or Sakwa, who until the other day, she was the Director General of NYS. She was the DO2 in the DC's place. Now, when Kikuyus were chased because of Molo fights, Kalenjins remained because the intelligence was headed by FK Rono. FK Rono, we used to call him the clerk. CID, OCPD was Mr. Sang, who later became the director of CID, the OCPD. The DC, I said, was Chelang. So in the district security committee in Nakuru was composed of Kalenjins, except the CID man. The CID man was a Borana from, is it Isiolo or Marsabit? And you people who today would not even want anything be talked ill or negative. I think the word is negative. You don't want anything negative to be talked about. Now he has become, just because he's anti-government, he has become an angel. The person you are calling Moi's son, the person you are saying he used to persecute people in Molo, when in the whole of Nakuru, Kikuyus were transferred. I've said the only Kikuyu who was in a position was William Mugweru. William Mugweru was an SSP with the intelligence, and he was not on a command duty. He was at and then you come and say, let us not side with somebody because of the emotions. Let us not shift the truth. Do you know why? Simple reason. If we start doing that, siding and opposing people because of our current our current love or hatred of somebody, we will have robbed of the history of Kenya. We had a very sad history, and we should maintain it. So that is how we have to say the truth. I believe, and I'm saying it because first of, yeah, they are going to, these 4 kids are going they are going for medical checkups, which will verify that apart from hunger, their body will show that they were fasting. They are fasting because they have lost a lot of weight. But physically beating or anything, I'm doubting that. I don't see it as if it will be there. And then they will also have to undergo a session from professional psychologists to bring them back to. But if you want to know where they were placed or anything, tafuta kazi ingine ya maana kufanya, because Even they themselves do not know where they were, and even they themselves would not know who dealt with them. But I will only predict that they will come out being very, very much fearful. Uh, uh, because the last thing they were told is, you do the kinyoriro, we will come back for you. Independent of that, I saw the Embu fellow who had been crying in the courts. I'm very sure that subject to his son undergoing medical checkups and medical treatment and psychological counseling, that couple, I don't know about the others, that couple, I'm sure uh, they will sit down with the kid, and I'm seeing a possibility of the kid not doing that. Mine, as I said, is not to justify or anything. That is what we are having problem in Kenyans. You just try and sit down. We have people who are called political analysts or something, where we are going to have a general election and say, ninaona vile Ndindi Nyoro anafanya. I think he's trying to be the next Kikuyu kingpin. But you see people, so you are in his pay. Is that what? No, we have to have people who have to tell us what is happening so that we know what is happening. As for the other two, uh, I don't see them staying there for a week more than these other ones. And then the things will be that way. Lastly, I want to castigate. Oh, I'm saying last, isn't it? But I want to say this, and I said it, I'm repeating. You see, I insisted that they must be very safe wherever they are. Not, I mean, by safe, I mean physically. Mentally, they are not safe. Mentally, they have to be treated. But you see, the way Rigathi Gachagua talked. Yeah, Rigathi Gachagua talked. He said that the kids have been killed. Mumeua hiyo watoto, sasa leteni. And you see, parents, I'm lucky. You know, high blood pressure is not there with the lawyers because of Mseraha. Hmm? Mseraha, we started taking Mseraha and Maseveve. Mseraha in Maseveve. That one, you rarely find high blood pressure. But I want to ask, especially those people who are supporting Rigiji now, that he was saying, he was very sure, he was saying, you have killed these kids, now bring their bodies. Now they have been brought. And I'm very sure they'll tell you that they were not beaten. The only beating was when they were being pushed to enter into the vehicle. But after they were restrained and were placed in such a way that it was obvious, you are in a place, in a room, you know you cannot escape, you know, whatever. You stop being. It is quite. I'm seeing them saying that. They were not physically beaten, especially in those dark rooms, whatever. And the other thing they'll just say that from the from the from the room, the dark room I was throughout to the police station that I went to report. Uh, it is not very far. It's not very far, but I don't know because I was blindfolded. I'm seeing it being that way. But then we have to wait. But the question here I have to ask people. You saw the careless remark caused by were made by Gachagua, saying, you have killed those kids, now bring them for the parents to bury. The kids are there. Kikuyus, history has it that Kikuyus and Somalis are the people with the highest level of high blood pressure and so on. Now, supposing Rigathi Gachagua would have, the parents of these kids would have heard what Rigathi Gachagua said and say, this is a former deputy head of state. See what he has said. And then the sukari inapanda juu and those people die. You see, by the way, Rigathi Gachagua doesn't care. The only kids he cares is about his kids. Where else can you find a father opening a business, a multi-million shillings business, and registering it in his 17-year-old son? Where else can you find? Most of the people around have a lot of problems with Shylocks. Go around. Ask about, you'll find everybody has had problems with Shiloh. But Rigathi Gachagwa's kid, even before he gets his ID, he has already started getting like 500, half a billion shillings loan from banks. And you see, he he doesn't mind. He takes the other kids. Oh, wow, watoto wameuawa. Hmm? And then the parent gets shocked and the parent dies. To him, he doesn't care. To him, he's doing what we call a Samson effect. You know, Samson went to, was it a stadium? He went and pulled down, he said, let me and them die. If you were to enter into Rigathi Gachagwa's head, he'd want the whole country to burn just because he had been stopped from taking dividends from his shares. That is what I had for today.